crazy, but I feel like I have mentioned the brilliance of Stephen King at least once or twice on this show before. And still, after all these years, I am still enamored with his storytelling ability, regardless of the genre. He masterfully blends genres seemingly effortlessly, and King has always been known to evoke deep emotional responses that resonate with his audiences. But the film we're discussing today sits close to the top. This isn't some B picture like some of other King's adaptations. It's a major blockbuster with A-list stars, the only film of his at the time to break $100 million at the box office. The It movie would later eclipse that in 2017. Boys and girls, we are discussing the 1999 crime fantasy thriller from Frank Darabont, The Green Mile. Like many of King's works, I was obsessed with The Green Mile as a kid. I read the complete novel as a middle schooler and I was infatuated with the story. Despite the box office success, I still find this movie to be underrated or just not discussed enough. It's time for us to shine a little light down on this title for any of those who may have missed it. So I hope you guys brought your tissues because this one is undoubtedly a tearjerker. Without any further introductions, here is our take on The Green Mile. Welcome back to the Sloppy Horror Podcast. I am your host and your scary movie companion, Christian Ramey, and back again for another week, clapping them ass cheeks, the best producer in the whole wide world, Mr. Ozark Mark. Mark, how are you down there?
Yeah, man. We be clapping them cheeks
Frequently.
for another week. That's what I do, so take it. As you've been taking it for a while, and you're about to take it for a while again, because we are here on another fantastic episode. Hello, how do you do? How are you? I hope you are fine. I am doing well. Thank you for asking, because I know you were wondering that. But everything is fine. We got a solid movie here today. A solid movie here that we will be discussing in detail.
Time out. It's not a liquid?
What'd I say?
A solid. I just want to determine that it's not a liquid or a gas. It is a solid.
Anyway, so we're here talking about. We are here. We are.
I don't know why I heard it that way.
We are here talking about The Green Mile.
Green Mile.
The Green Mile.
I love that. It's a southern movie, too. Green Mile.
The Green Mile.
Green Mile.
The Green Mile. Yeah, this is a.
Oh, Grandma.
What a fantastic movie this is.
You remember that Mike Jones song? It was like his grandma's songs. Oh, Grandma.
No.
Bro,
I
if you
never
just
heard that.
look at, when you're editing this, look it up. You just need to hear the first 10 seconds. And that's how I'm saying The Green Mile. Green Mile. It works so well. Now, this can't be the first time you've seen this, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay. All right.
I've seen The Green Mile before.
I mean, I would think that you had, dude. I would think that you had seen it. I mean, it's one of those ones where, I don't know, dude. Like, I feel like it's like everybody's seen this flick, I feel like, or maybe it's just a biased opinion that I have, but this is one of those ones, obviously, not necessarily. It's great for the rehab season because not exactly true horror, but I don't know where the fuck you put this, Mark. I don't know where else you would put a tale of like true crime and murder and mystery and suspense and almost like angelic shit, dude, like magical shit. Like I don't even know where you would put this because it feels more than a drama. It feels a little more intense than that, and obviously it was given to us by the king himself. So I'm pretty pumped about that. This not only is a 3-hour movie, but this is a 3-hour movie that doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie. This is one of those long movies that passes the test. It has the right cast. It has the right message, the right feel, and
I mean, this feels quicker than The Godfather. I'm not saying it's a better movie than The Godfather. I love The Godfather, but I'm just saying as far as how this movie paces, doesn't necessarily feel like a 3-hour movie. It's long. You're watching a long one, but I'm saying like mentally, you don't feel like you're being drugged the whole time. You're like, oh, I get it.
No, that's a very good point. I completely forgot that this movie was 3 hours long. And you're right, it did not seem like that at all.
Yeah, dude. What's interesting, if you're unfamiliar with, I would say, let's talk about the book first. All right, I'm not going to go into detail with like the plot differences between the movies or whatnot. I'll go ahead. Stephen King said on record that this is probably his most faithful adaptation from book to movie. Obviously, that's when he did a commentary for The Green Mile, so it had to be DVD time. But probably early 2000s. Whether he still feels the same way, I don't know. But we can just, I would assume it's still in his top 3, if not. We have Frank Darabont, who directed this movie. Frank Darabont has done a few of King's works, but when The Green Mile was being wrote, this was back in 96, it came out in installments. It came out in like short little 100-page like novellas, if you will, like little short stories. And I forget how many of them there were altogether, but altogether it made the full story. Now, I was fortunate enough because I read this probably around after the movie is when I read it. But I was in middle school at that time frame, and they had already compiled all the chapters or the little novellas into one book, so I didn't have to go buy all the individual segments. But there are some pretty cool old ones that you could find. I imagine those might be worth a little penny if you've got that original collection of the first ones. But a pretty crazy story. Obviously, King has notoriously he did the Shawshank Redemption as well, which I'm not saying it's a similar story, but it's about, early 1900s prison. So like that's kind of that lingers in his brain somewhere. That's a thing that lives in there. And for me, this is just one of my all-time favorites. It does. I know it's not wintertime in this flick. It's not Christmas time or anything like that. And we're past the holidays now, but it just feels like a wintertime watch for me. It's a cozy movie. It was released in December, so that's another thing that we should probably mention. It was released in December, so maybe that's why.
That could be it.
Maybe that's why, Mark.
That could be a good, motivation to watch it at this period of time, I would say.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I would say.
Okay. So, I want to give these folks a synopsis, but I cannot do that until we fill the shoes.
We about to fill them shoes. We about to fill them shoes. Yeah, I'm about to fill them shoes. We about to fill them shoes.
Okay.
Fill my shoes.
I'm gonna put a little something in your shoes.
Fill my shoes. Da-da-da-da. Fill
I'm gonna
my
fill
shoes.
up your shoes.
Fill me up before you go.
Wow, I wasn't expecting all that, but I like that.
Thank you.
I like that.
Now fill my shoes, you son of a bitch.
Look, this is December 10th of 1999, all right? December 10th of 1999. Got any guesses, on music around this time, Ozark Mark? You were alive.
What the number one song is?
Yeah.
You gotta give me genre.
Pop rock?
Pop rock.
Yes, I feel like we've made...
Is it the Bare Naked Ladies? Is it Matchbox 20? Is it
Yes, it's Rob Thomas.
Who the fuck is Rob Thomas?
The singer.
I know, but who's his band?
Matchbox 20.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
So it was Matchbox 20?
No, sir.
Oh.
It's Rob Thomas featuring another artist.
Okay, what is it?
You know this song, dude. You know this song.
I'm sure I do. I don't know what the song is, though.
It's featuring Santana. It's every dad's favorite song. So smooth. 'cause you look like the ocean. Bum, 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 bum. I don't know the other fucking words.
Okay, all right.
You know that song.
I'm
So
sure
Smooth.
I do if I heard it.
Bro, I'm frustrated that you're pretending like you don't know the song So Smooth by Santana and Rob Thomas.
I'm sure I do. I just can't think of it.
You know that
My memory, it's not so good sometimes.
the fact that song that's like Mumbo number 5. It's like the Macarena.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's what I'm talking about, dude.
All right, man, we got it. All right, now you're filling me up a little bit. What else you got? I'm not satisfied yet. Oh, that's what it is? Okay.
You know
All
that
right,
song.
yeah, I know, yes,
you know,
I know that song,
It's
yeah.
every dad's
Man,
favorite.
it's a hot one.
Put that song on next to your dad. Watch what he does, bro. He's going to start moving his body, and you're going to be like, what happened here? It's every dad's...
I thought that was Under the Sun.
No, it sounds similar. It's they got the same kind of voice when they're doing the... But that's Smash Mouth. Mine is where
Give me your
walking.
love, I'll make a real, or let's forget about it. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, dude.
I know that song.
Dads love it. Oh, dude. Yeah. All right. So I'm sorry. I had to clarify that because that's just like a song that is. I don't know why that was so popular. I mean, I guess it is slightly a banger, but it was a strange time.
Different times, baby. It was right before the new millennium. Things were intense.
Now let me tell you something, dog.
The end of the 1900s.
The Hanks was killing it in December of '99
Yeah.
because he was in the number 1 movie and the number 3 movie in December.
Wasn't Forrest Gump, was it?
No,
I
this
forgot
is
that
an
came out.
animated movie, an animated
Toy Story.
sequel. Toy Story 2. All right, so that was number 1. Stuart Little was number 2. Green Mile.
Stuart Little.
Yeah, weirdly enough, wrote by M. Night Shyamalan. Weird, it's before he really kicked off his thick tenth, or it was right after the thick tenth. He was finding his way.
That's very odd.
Yep, Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo was up there. Any Given Sunday.
Okay.
Bicentennial Man.
The Ladies Man.
Oh, Sleepy Hollow. Man on the Moon. Galaxy Quest, dude.
Oh, I remember that.
Bone Collector. Dogma. Being John Malkovich.
Dogma.
Pokemon, the first movie. Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Ooh.
Shut up.
Oh,
American
geez.
Beauty, Sixth Sense. Yeah, this was a great year for movies. Star Wars, Phantom Menace. So we had all these kind of flicks coming out. But let's be honest. What was going on in December of 1999? What were people freaking out about?
The new Y2K.
Yeah, Chris Jericho was coming to Raw, Y2J. No. But that was a legitimate thing. I remember
It was.
that. I remember exactly where I was for the ball drop. I was at my grandma's house with my cousin watching the ball drop, which is weird because it feels forever ago, but I guess it kind of was.
Yeah, it's over 24 years ago.
Yeah. I wonder how older adults feel about that. They're really old because they
Yeah.
remember probably what they're wearing and what they ate that day.
Yeah. Well, they made it through the new millennium, so that's a milestone in itself.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Okay. All right. Well, my shoes are fucking filled.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if everybody feels all filled up, I guess let me take a drink of apple juice.
Why do you keep playing with the ice cube like that?
It's just fun. It's a circle. It's round. It's a ball. I don't know. It's fun to do.
Yeah, it is fun to play with little circle round balls with your finger.
Any kind of balls, dude. Any kind.
Uh-huh.
Your own balls, basketballs, baseballs.
Clitoris ball.
Yeah. Oh, it's in there
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's in there. You can find it sometimes, but it's hard to. It's like hitting in there. It's like a cat.
Sometimes it hangs out like a Jimmy Dean sausage. You're
Those
like,
those girls have more testosterone in their body. The
Yeah.
bigger the clit, the bigger the testosterone. So if your girl's got a big old clitty ball down there, she might be a little bit manly, which is fine, which is good. That means she can probably lift stuff up in open pickle jars.
she could save you in a fire.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You gotta have ones like that,
Yeah. What if you're injured? You can't get out.
Exactly.
What about a synopsis of the Green
Yep. The Green Mile.
Mile?
The Green Mile. Tell me about the Green Mile.
All right.
What can I expect when I'm watching the Green Mile?
Oh, Green Mile. What I will tell you about the Green Mile. Little story here. So 1930s. America.
Louisiana. Prison.
I don't know why I painted it so intensely. Okay, so there's a death row, we'll say hall, in the 1930s. And there's a group of prison guards there, led by some great actors, but led by Tom Hanks. All right, you got Barry Pepper. Fucking love. Don't you know Barry Pepper?
Mm-hmm.
Barry Pepper was in the Green, not only was he in the Green Mile with Tom Hanks, he was in the legendary Saving Private Ryan. He was the Sniper Jackson. I love him. And in the 61, that Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris movie. But I love that guy. Then we have another guy from the actor Doug Hutchinson. He plays the asshole Percy Wetmore. Nobody likes him. He's a little bitch. All right, we'll get into him later. And then we have David Morse. He's playing a character named Brutus, and Brutus is really cool. So everybody really essentially from... Oh, and then we get Jeffrey DeMunn. He's back again in another... Obviously, I love him as an actor, but he did Storm of the Century. All right, you remember Storm of the Century, obviously. Mm-hmm. he said so many funny lines in that, thing. And then he was Dale in The Walking Dead. I just love him as an actor.
Martha Clarrington.
Martha Clarrington's
What
house.
say you? Mm-hmm.
Michael Anderson.
I want to live somewhere where everybody says their full names.
I know, dude.
I just want to start doing that.
I know. But such a... And Frank Darabont, by the way, he's done, Shawshank. He's done The Green Mile. He's done The Mist. He's done so many adaptations, which is crazy to me. Like that not many people can do that with King. Really, only Mike Flanagan's the only other one that has that capability. But back to the synopsis. So we have these prison guards here, and they do a pretty good job, even though that these inmates, they're there to die. There's no pretty way to paint it. They're there to die. But they keep it civil, and they're nice to the inmates as long as the inmates are nice to them. It's not as you would imagine where it's like as cutthroat. I mean, these people are pretty morose. They know they're about to fucking die eventually, and not all of them are there. So these guys are just trying to help them through their last couple months in life or however long they're alive. Well, they get a new prisoner, guy by the name of John Coffey. And once again, this is the 1930s, okay? So race tensions were a little different back then, to say the least. And Michael Clark Duncan Jr. is the guy who plays John Coffey. If you're unfamiliar with Michael Clark Duncan Jr., he was a huge dude, rest in peace, but he's like 7 foot something. He's big old, he's like Shaq walking in the fucking room, right? So he's accused of murdering and sexually assaulting these 2 girls. He killed 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. They're little babies, dude. They're little. They weren't big kids. Mm-hmm. Not that would make a fucking difference, but they were young. So they found John Coffey at the scene of the crime. A farmer realizes his daughter's gone. He goes look for him, and they find John Coffey laid up on this log holding these 2 little girls who are obviously fucked up, and he's just crying and all messed up. And he said, I'm sorry I couldn't, how did he word it, Mark? He said,
I didn't make it in time or something. It was too late, or I tried to make it go away.
I tried to make it better or some shit. He worded it in a way where he wanted to fix it, but it was ambiguous where, he said, I couldn't help it. He said, I couldn't help it. I couldn't take it back.
He said, I tried to take it back and I couldn't. It was too late. That's what it was.
And to these people, that's like an admission of guilt.
Yeah.
Well, we come to find out that John Coffey, we don't know where John Coffey came from. And as the movie goes on, you realize that John Coffey could not have been the man that have did these crimes. Because as soon as he gets into his jail cell, even though he's a towering giant, he tells Tom Hanks, whose character is Paul Edgecombe, and he tells Paul, he says, do you guys got a night light, or do you keep the lights on at night? Because I get scared of the dark. And they're like, what the fuck? But he's not joking. Like, he's not joking. He's a very gentle man. And as time goes on, they start to realize he has talents. He has magical abilities. Paul had a really bad urinary infection. And it was, like, really bad. He couldn't piss. He's, like, struggling, dude. Like, quality of life is way down, dude.
It's I couldn't help but laugh when he's trying to piss and just his face of it.
Yeah.
When Tom Hanks tries to piss, it's hilarious. I can't help but laugh there.
Oh yeah, dude. He is a very good piss actor. He
Yeah.
like nailed.
He is.
That's so weird, but like
And then,
I
like, when
believed he's peeing.
And then once he got healed, he went to relieve. He actually took a first good piss. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like he's like, if I was to do that scene, I feel like I would hold my pee forever until I fucking did that scene, make it more realistic. But anyway, that always cracked me up. But continue. Sorry.
So no, I like it's the added flair to the story. Well, Paul's really suffering, and to make matters worse, like they have this new inmate brought into the prison, also on death row, named Wild Bill, and Wild Bill, he plays, which is a really funny scene, but he plays like he's sedated and almost, mentally not well. Like he's like not all there. Like he's literally sitting there catatonic when they go to pick him up, drooling. Not all there. Well, as soon as he gets they get him to the prison, he freaks out and starts a fight, like, whee! And starts punching them. I mean, he just wanted to trick them and just let them know, like, I'm here to, like, make every day of your life a living hell. Like, he's just an outlaw, like, the truest form of it. Well, during this, Paul gets kicked, like, right in his fucking nuts during a fight with this new Wild Bill, and it just exacerbates that, like, urinary problem. And he just, as soon as everybody leaves, he just lays on the floor. Like, you ever been, like, so fucked up or so hungover or so ill or whatever, where you're just like, I'm just gonna lay here. And, like, it was totally believable. Like, you knew, like, it's weird because you don't ask, or I didn't ask myself, like, what's he doing? Like, you knew what he's doing. He's just like, this is the most comfortable way for me to lay right now.
Yeah.
And then while he's laying there in agony, John Coffey says, boss, I need to see you down here. And he's like, no, it's not a good time, John Coffey. That's so funny.
One of my favorite parts. Just laying on the ground. Now's not a good time, John Coffey.
But he gets up anyways, and he goes over to John, and John grabs him. And he, like, puts his hand, like, cups over his, like, fucking dick, essentially. And he's like, what are you doing? But then all of a sudden, things start trancing out. The electricity gets really bright. Things start to happen. And what's happening is John Coffey is taking away his hurt. He's taking away his illness, right? And he does. And, like, a light bulb bursts. And then, like, John goes and sits down. And he opens his mouth and he coughs out all these little flies, which we assume to be is like the illness. He took the illness out of Paul and he coughed it out. And Paul's good. And he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he goes home and bangs his broad like 4 times in one night.
Yeah, dude. He goes nuts.
Yeah.
But then he's like, I don't understand this. Obviously, like, once again, the 30s. So you have to think where, like, religion is at this point, like, where people were pretty stern with their faith. And on top of that, he didn't really play around with faith. Like, people, like, miracle stuff. People didn't have that. Like, not saying that we have it as much now, but it wasn't like Chris Angel was like, an illusion, check out, can you find this, Jack? You know, like, that wasn't as, like, prevalent, I don't believe. I'm not saying he didn't have tricksters and stuff, but this was just something, I don't know. It was just kind of wild. Well, Paul doesn't know how to take it. And then another prisoner on death row named Dale.
Dale. Is it Dell?
Yeah, for Delacroix.
I thought it was Dale.
No, it's Dell.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Dell.
Yeah. Dell, because his last name is Delacroix. Edward Delacroix was his full name. And what he did was actually burn down, like, a house. Like, he arsoned people. I don't think they mentioned that in the movie.
No, they don't.
But he, like, burned stuff down, ended up killing a bunch of people, and he's like a Frenchman from, like, Louisiana. He's got, like, a Creole talk, real broken English. Well, he ends up making friends with this little mouse, and this mouse, he does little tricks, and it kind of amuses the prison guards and stuff, because it's not hurting anybody, and the mouse is kind of cool. Mouse, like, walks up to people, like, kind of begs for food. Cute little mouse. And the asshole prison guard, Percy, who has kind of a beef with Dell, they end up going back and forth. He kills the mouse, whose name is Mr. Jingles. Well, John Coffey says, give me the mouse. And Paul picks up the mouse, hands it into the cell with, John Coffey, and he brings the mouse back to life. And then he's like, I don't know what the fuck this is, dude. But he was happy the other prison guards saw it because now he knows, like, all right, now I've got other people. Well, unfortunately, the warden of this little prison, what's that actor's name? That guy's great.
I don't know.
He's from Babe. You remember the farmer?
He was also the warden in The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler.
Yeah, and then he was also like the crazy doctor in the American Horror Story, the Asylum season.
Yeah.
So dude's name is James Cromwell. Great actor. Is he still alive, dude? I hope he still is. He is. Great actor. Love him. Dude, he got pretty tear-jerking in this movie, too. Well, anyways, the warden, his wife is really sick. Like, has like a tumor in her fucking head. And the warden's obviously not doing well. His wife is dying, and it's just taking a toll on him, and it's taking a toll on the guys. They just feel bad. They see their they're, I don't know if they're necessarily buddies, but they're close with their boss, and they feel for him as you would for anybody. And after seeing this miracle of the bladder being healed and the mouse being brought back to life and this crazy stuff that was going on, Paul starts to believe, like, I don't think John Coffey killed those girls. I think he tried to help them. I don't know what's going on. And then he thinks, well, the warden's wife is sick. We can't just not try to have John help her if we feel like John can help her. So they have a little meeting. They decide, okay, let's do it. They bring him over, and he does heal her. But even though all this is going on, they can't prove his innocence. And he still has to walk the mile and sit in the electric chair. And it's starting to weigh on Paul because he's like, how am I going to face God one day if I kill one of his miracles? Because I'm quite certain. But what are you going to do in that situation? Go to the court and say that he's a miracle worker? Like, what do you do? Like there's there's like practicality wrapped into it. So he knows he can't free him unless he does it illegally. And then he talks to John. John says, I don't want to like be here, essentially. Like, I am pain. I'm walking in pain, so it's okay to go. Mm-hmm. But all in all, because they end up, ultimately killing John, I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing that he gives Paul. But Paul ends up living to be really old. And we end up finding that out throughout the movie. And he lives old enough to see pretty much everyone he knows love and die. And it goes even longer in the fucking book, It goes into kind of more detail, like you kind of get more of his wife dying and stuff like that. But
yeah, even Mr. Jingles is still alive.
Yeah, and he takes care of him, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I like that. I mean, this is a tearjerker of a movie, but
this will make him that fucking. I'm telling you, the scene where John Coffey gets electrocuted. God damn, dude.
When they go to Barry Pepper and he's just losing it, you're like, turn it off, dude.
Dude, oh my God. That'll make a grown man cry, that scene.
Cut the show.
Holy shit. God damn.
Turn it off. I know, dude.
That's fucking sad as shit.
But, this is like one of those ones I like to say, like, a story's so rich it needs to come with a glass of milk. Like, this is I mean, how do you think of that? Like, this story lives in my brain. It's one of those things, obviously, where I can't applaud King enough, but he has so many stories that, like, live in my brain. I don't know, like, from the way The Shining does, or the way that this there's just certain tales that, like, wow, I could have never thought of this. That's such a well thought out story. There's no gaps in it. There's no holes. It's just a beautiful story. It's really good. And even though there are sad moments, there's a lot of humor throughout. It's a funny movie too. It's a tearjerker. It's funny. It'll make you mad. There's all kinds of stuff to it. Now, Mark, I must ask, out of Green Mile, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part of the Green Mile I think it's when they bring Billy Outlaw guy, right? It's when they start bringing him into the cell.
Mm-hmm. Who's played by Sam Rockwell, by the way.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Yeah, so he's coming in, and then it's right when he starts to break loose and start beating everybody up. Tom Hanks and the other guard guy, they're like coming in for their shift, and they hear a commotion. So they start running. Tom Hanks running is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. He's just got a funny-ass run because it's like a mix of like Forrest Gump and Woody from Toy Story. Like, it's just watch that scene and watch him start running. It's so funny. Like, I love it. And then, of course, when he's on the floor, we already talked about it, when he's like, "Not now, John Coffey." Like, that whole little sequence was just hilarious.
Dude, that part where Wild Bill essentially fucks everybody up and Dean and Harry are on the floor. They were all fucked up, but then like once they controlled the situation, it was funny because they were like worried about their jobs because obviously Paul's there. I mean, he wasn't gonna fire him, but they were like wanted to answer like why the fuck this just happened. And Harry pops up, Jeffrey DeMont. He looks at everybody. He says, "What, we thought he was doped." Didn't we? We thought he was doped. I know. It was so funny because he was just so flabbergasted. Like, we thought he was doped.
Also, another good part
Didn't
is when John Coffey, after he saves the warden's wife, he holds in all that disease or whatever he has. He doesn't cough it out when it happens, and he's like, but then he goes in, and then he sends all that stuff into Percy, the asshole guard. So he takes all those flies into his body, and then he goes around and he shoots Wild Bill.
Yeah, because he saw what happened.
Yeah, because he saw what happened, and then, Percy gets what was finally coming to him. Because he's one of the most hated characters in any movie. Think of most hated characters in movies. He's probably the most hated character
You want to know
I've
why?
ever seen.
You want to know why, dude?
Why? Well, before you tell me that, let's get back to that later. We're coming up on the what do you know here, so we gotta do our due diligence and tell people what do you know.
Can I just give you this real quick?
No, you gotta wait. Whoa, welcome to the What Do You Know here. This is a segment, man. We're here to tell yous, peoples, something that you may or may not know about this movie. Now, if you know what we know, you're going to have a we know-gasm. If you don't know what we know, you're about to find out what we know, and then you're going to have a we know-gasm too. Everybody's included, no seclusions, no segregations. Everything's good in unison. Now, why don't you tell me something that you may or may not know about this movie here, The Green Mile?
You know what I like?
No?
Well,
I don't.
I like little facts about movies, especially if you could tell me about certain scenes. Like, oh, if you watch at this particular part, you could see this. You know,
Okay.
maybe something that you wouldn't have saw before.
Right.
Or maybe, an actor may say, like, hey, in this particular scene, I was high as shit. That's funny to know. Like, you go back and you're like, ah, ha, 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 next time you watch it because, it's different now. It's different.
Do go on, please.
Well, at about an hour and 35 minutes into this movie.
Exactly?
Yes.
What are the seconds?
Hour and 35. And I don't know seconds.
Well, then how am I supposed to know where to stop when at a minute 35?
Because you'll know the plot.
Okay.
So, Mr. Jingles is on Paul's jacket. He's on his coat, and then he gets off, and he gives him back, and then he brushes off his jacket.
Right.
And, you think it's like, oh, ha, ha, it's part of the scene. No, the mouse actually pooped on his jacket. And he's like, wiping it off. He's actually wiping off mouse poop off his jacket.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah, so
Nobody likes mouse poop on his shoulder.
it's just not something you want.
No, I didn't notice that.
Well, what about you? You got any facts about the Green Mile?
Sure, speaking about mice poop, Mr. Jingles, right?
Yeah,
He was in the movie. He's a big part of the movie.
I like him.
Yeah. They used 15 different mouses.
That's a mice.
Whatever.
That's a lot of Mr. Jingles.
Yeah, they used 15 different mouses to
Mice.
shut. Mouses is a real word, and I'm gonna use mouses because I say mouses.
Kind of like horsies. I say that too.
Yeah, come on. If you walk into a room, you're not gonna be like, look at all these mice. You're gonna be like, look at all these mouses.
Yeah.
I'm
Look-
scared of mouses.
I still say horsies.
People say that. Horsies.
If you're driving by with the kid, look, kid, it's horsies.
What's the proper name for multiple horses? Or is it horses?
Just not horsies.
Oh, okay.
But you know, it's more fun to say horsies.
Yeah. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, different of these mice were trained to do different things. Like, one was, trained to go on the shoulder. One was trained to do fetch. One was trained to, beg for food. One was trained to go under the doors,
One was trained for sexual favors.
Exactly. So, there you go. Also, if you're looking at the scenes where the actors are all following the mouse on the floor,
Yeah.
you know what they used for that? They didn't use a mouse. That'd be too ridiculous. That's not where they want them to go. You know what they used?
What?
They used the laser pointer.
Ah.
And they all followed it in unison, so they all looked the same.
I guess they're lucky there's no cat on set, because if you would have saw the laser pointer and the mouse, it would have been lights
Oh
out.
my God! What would you think would happen if you put a cat in a room with a mouse and a laser pointer?
They'd
Which
be
one
at
do you
the
think
window
would-
making those weird noises they make. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, dude, when they start making bird noises.
Yeah, they always do that when they see birds. Very weird.
They are weird, dude.
Cats are weird creatures.
They turn into apex predators.
They do. I saw one eat a bee once, a whole bumblebee.
You know
I
what?
watched it happen.
That's crazy.
I know.
Did he freak out?
Nah.
You know what else is bad too? When you got have you ever just been shaking your knee or your foot, and then a cat just and you're like, ow! And then you understand, if the cat was down there, it's probably been looking at your foot for a whole 3 minutes.
I'll tell you what the worst thing is when I had a boy kitten in my life one time, a little boy kitty cat, right? Still had its front nails.
Yeah.
And little boy kitty cats, they're very playful when they're in the young age. Well, guess what? He had an obsession of attacking my bare feet when I was in bed. He would sneak up and then just attack your feet. And those little claws, your feet are sensitive. It just it fucking sucked, dude. I've never wanted to. I love animals, but I never wanted to fucking throw a cat out the window before. But I thought about it. Of course I
just
didn't.
picking up
Oh my God, it was awful. It was awful. But anyways, that's great. You know any more facts?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, perfect. We're gonna go now because there's a lot more podcast here and facts of regular assumption coming your way.
It's a real thing, dude. Girls are out here eating man ass. But, I didn't make the, it's a weird world 2024. But hey.
Why would you eat man ass? I can understand eating girl ass. Okay, that's freaky and it's a world.
Nah,
and if,
bro, they're about
and if
it.
you're clean, if a girl is clean, out the shower, no hair down there, you can play around with it. But a man ass.
Yeah.
No, dude, no.
It's what they want.
That's disgusting.
I know.
That's fucking disgusting.
I know.
Nobody's ever touching my butt. I'm gonna have a virgin butt, and that's what's gonna stay. I have a virgin butthole, and that's how it's gonna stay for the rest of my life. So if you're abroad watching this and you want to lick it, don't. You go. I'll give you the gooch. You can lick the gooch.
I want the most beautiful, gorgeous, hot girl listening to this right now that has no attachments in her life just to send Mark messages like, I'm about to eat that butt, boy. Because you're going to catch him, and he's going to be like, can we do more than that? She'll be like, yeah. And he'll be like, well, fuck. I got to weigh out my options.
Mouthful of hair. You don't want that. This shit gets destroyed on a daily basis. Farts and all. Come on.
Yeah, well, I don't make the rules, Mark. Now
right.
let me get back on topic.
Yeah,
though,
get back to where we left off before the boys came in.
Boys back in town. Percy said he's one of the most hated characters on screen, which is crazy that Wild Bill is actually worse. You know what I mean? Percy does the right thing. Kinda. Which is fucked because he's the worst, most hateable character. And it's because the actor... Let me ask you a quick question, Mark. How do you feel about pedophiles? Grown adults that bang children?
I don't like them.
Yeah, well, that's what he is. He married a 16-year-old girl while he was 40-something. I guess parents consented. She was
that? Oh,
I think she was
that's right, 'cause I
15
forget-
or 16.
because I forget that there's the laws of consent are different.
40-something-year-old.
States.
Would you be interested in marrying?
No.
You're 10 years younger. Would you? What the fuck, dude?
No.
What in the fuckity fuck? What? Dude's a real life human piece of shit. So it's not that he's acting. I think that's who that guy is. That guy sucks balls. All right,
Yeah.
that guy sucks balls. I've never met him before, and I usually don't like say things about people I don't know or I haven't met. But if you've married a child, you're a piece of shit. All right, like no love for the pedophiles. You get karate chops and kicks to the dick, bro. That's not cool.
100%.
So, he sucks. But even more so, knowing that fact now, wait till you watch this movie again. You're gonna like really fucking hate him. Like you're like he's the worst. And then, like you said, John Coffey can also give you like a little bit of telepathy or like kind of deal, like some dead zone shit, like where if he touches you, he can see the future. He could talk to you about, you know, your future, what had happened in the past, so to speak. And when he touched Percy, Percy was able to see that, oh, John Coffey didn't kill those girls. It was Wild Bill. And he's killed a bunch of other people. And he like sexually assaulted and killed these little girls of this farmer that was letting him work for him. And it was like, he was all fucked up because he saw it, and as he's walking away, he's just like, and then he walks by Wild Bill's cell, and he's just like, nope, pulls out his gun and fucking shoots him. And it's like, for the worst, horriblest character that everyone hates, does the right thing. Like, there's even worse of a character. It's wild, and it is really weird, because there's a seesaw in this movie, because all of the characters that are inmates are technically bad people. They're all in there for something. And I think the book does a little better job at like kind of weighing in on each prisoner and what they've done. So like even like I said with Dell, because he's kind of likable. He's got the little mouse and shit. But he did burn down like an apartment building, killed a bunch of people and kids and shit. So it's like not, you know, you start to understand the levels to it. But it is kind of weird because you do sympathize. And I saw this, or I heard this really weird kind of theory. I don't know if this was, it might have been on Kingcast actually, but they were saying like, do you think The Green Mile is a pro-death penalty movie or a non-pro-death penalty movie? Because it's like, it's interesting because like, at the same time, you're like, it's fucked because an innocent man can sometimes die. You know, through the system, it's not perfect, and that's kind of what that proves. But at the same time, we're fucked up if we think that, but we also want Wild Bill dead. You know? So, like, is the message like, hey, shouldn't kill people, or like, hey, the right thing happened by killing the right guy? So it was kind of an interesting concept, but either way that you think about it, all these guys are kind of gonna die, so you have to it's weird to sympathize with characters that you know are gonna kind of die. Like usually in movies you'll love a character and then like, oh no, he died in a tragic scene, and then it's like a tearjerker or it's like a random surprise. But with these people, you know they're all gonna reach their fate. And there's a really crazy scene because Percy and Dell, as I alluded to earlier, they kind of got in a little shit talking and fighting because Dell would make fun of Percy for being kind of like a little bitch or a little sissy, and then Dell would, you know, or Percy would, he hit his hand while they were on the bars, broke his little hands, killed his mouse, did all kind of shit. Well, Percy was this evil, fucked up dude, and he wanted to be. Paul and the rest of the crew told Percy, like, why do you keep working here if you, like, hate us? Like, why don't you can get, because Percy had connections. Like, he had, like, a governor or somebody that was his uncle, and he can get any state job he really wanted. And word was out that Percy kind of wanted to work at this hospital. And Paul was like, why do you want to keep fucking working here? Go work there. And Percy said, well, I want you to put me on the floor, and I want to see, like, the execution. Like, which is fucked up. Who would want to see that, right? So there's a process during this execution where you have to wet a sponge, and you have to put this wet sponge on top of the head, and that's where the, you know, the electricity, you know, goes right into the brain essentially. Well, Percy's dumbass didn't do it on purpose, and Dell like literally caught on fire, like a crazy electrocution. Was not good. Dude just straight up caught on fucking fire. Was brutal, and they couldn't. It took way longer. Because it took the electricity longer to get through his body. So, it was, I mean, probably a 2.5 minute death by electricity and fire. Not great. And then they just kind of beat the shit out of Percy after that. I mean, he's a horrible character. He's just a horrible person.
Yeah.
Through and through. But that was a gnarly scene. Because there's like parts of this movie where you're like, you know, a kid could watch this movie. And then there's parts where you're like, that's kind of creepy, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of fucking gnarly. That execution scenes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was definitely interesting to see or think about who would have to do that job, or like what kind of toll it would take on you.
It's so weird. Like, I've never understood the electric chair. Like, why are we doing that's so complicated? Why don't you just take them outside and shoot them once in the head?
Or like the injection, or like yeah.
Even the injection. Like, you could. It's still the injection's even expensive. Just take them out. If you have a death penalty, if I was the governor of a state, I'd be like, all right, here's the execution. Here's your date. We're gonna take you outside, and we're just gonna shoot you real quick. One and done. Boom. That cost us maybe 10 cents.
Why don't you just or you take them to like a prison, like I don't know what it's like near Alcatraz, but there's got to be sharks out there, dude.
See, that's even brutal too.
But they're not gonna make it. You just like make sure they can't swim, and you throw them in there.
I think there was one people that escaped from Alcatraz, but they never found them. Yeah.
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a lot of fun to really think about, though. Could you, like, let's just say, for example, could you have that job?
No.
Like miracle worker aside, like you're not dealing with John Coffey, it's just normal dudes, and you're like holding it down. It's like from like a professional standpoint, you look at it and you're like, okay, I see what the job entails. There's duties. Like, I know that, like, I could probably fit in. Like, but the toll it would take to, like, you're killing people. There's no other really way to, like...
I don't know. It just depends on how much it paid, I guess.
Yeah. What if it paid, like, $300,000 a year?
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Roll on too.
Just sign me up. Just fucking roll on too, damn it.
Yeah.
Besides, now it's just injections, so, whatever.
And I think they were doing a service because they were trying to be cool to the dudes. They were trying to be straight up. Like the Wild Bill, obviously, they were being dicks to him because he was being dicks to them.
Right.
Like, he was playing pranks. He was, like, pissing on them. That one scene where he fills his mouth full of the moon pie and he's just... and then Brutus walks by and he's like, what the hell? And he goes... and hits the side of his cheeks, and all this chocolate sprays on the Brutus. And he's there are parts that just make you laugh in this, like simple parts that are funny in this movie. There's a lot of great dialogue between the people, and I love I love the male characters in this too. I don't like when movies portray guys as like I love the action movies, and I love that. But it's nice when they add a little tad bit of emotion into them, but a little bit of humor. Like when they're literally throwing little crumbs down to the mouse. Like, hold on, let them do it for a minute. That's exactly what we'd probably do if a little mouse came up. Yeah. Like, I appreciate that. It wasn't, I like the little humor back and forth between the guys, and they have a camaraderie, if you will. That's nice. I love the little prison guards. They seem like a close group. But, I think I did mention that, obviously, the beginning of the movie, Paul's really old, kind of Saving Private Ryan you. And then at the end, it goes back to him, and he's, like, in a retirement home, and he, like, tells this woman his story. And he's like, I'm old as fuck. I'm, like, 109. Like, he had a 20-something-year-old boy in 1935. And he's like, this is, like, my curse/blessing. I'm going to see you die. I'm going to see everybody I know die, He's like, I don't think I'm immortal, but... I'm going to live. There's something happened when he touched me where I'm going to, like, live longer. There's some kind of life more in me. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a sad, tragic tale. In the book, like, when his wife dies, there's, like, a scene where he, like, looks up to the sky and, like, sees John. But, like, he knows, like, I killed the guy that, like, could have brought my wife back. And you know what I mean? Like, thanks, King. Thanks for, like, the extra, like, punch to the motherfucking gut. But I wasn't mad that they didn't go through his, like, life. I thought the old man did a great job at kind of explaining it.
Yeah,
all
you had to do it quick. It's a 3-hour movie. Now, you could have probably done, like, a Storm of the Century type deal where you could have done it in 2 parts, probably. But
well, that was 3 parts, yeah.
Yeah, 3 parts, but damn. Could have done it, but I think it was a good length for it. Well, let's see what it rates on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating system.
Sloppy Horror rating, baby, yeah!
Baby, yeah. This is the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. You know the drill. You know how it was created. You know who created it. And you know how we're going to do it. In a series of 3 categories. 3 categories worth 3 points. Last categories worth 1 point for a total of
10 points altogether.
I had to say that because we cannot do an episode without you saying that. So,
Yeah.
let's go on to the first category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is casting.
Strongest 3. There's just no doubt about it, dude.
Is-
And you know who we just didn't casually mention? This is like the 3rd movie, by the way. We get fucking Tom Hanks and Gary Sinise. Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan.
We got Lieutenant Dan and Forrest sitting on the porch.
Yeah.
Apollo 13. Any time these two pair up, it's a win in life. So, he's a background actor. Gary Sinise is like one of the 15th on the list. Yeah, dude. Fucking incredible. Michael Clark Duncan Jr., Barry Pepper, like I said, the incredible casting.
Yes, sir. So that's 3 out of 10 so far here on Sloppy Horror Podcast
Bonnie
rating.
Hunt.
Let's get into the second category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is kills.
We get some that are brutal. It's like there's not a killer killing. It's like electric chair and then like aftermath of other kills, some shots. It's going to be like, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a 1. Because of Dell's death, I'm going to make it a 1. Because I don't think a kid can. This is a tad more than TV death. Like, that's a pretty creepy scene. Yeah. Like, because my little one was down here and I was like, don't watch this part.
That's an intense one.
Yeah, so, but not like crazy over the top. I think, like, honestly, if you get like, you know, some like older kids can handle it for sure. But it's enough for a 1, and there's enough death throughout the movie where it's, I feel like a 1, but nothing above that at all.
Right. So that's 4 out of 10 so far here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the third, final 3-point category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is fear.
If we were to replace fear with fucking tears, it would be it would be a 5. No fear. This movie, I'm gonna give it like the half a point for just like emotions. You know, I can't put fear in there, but I guess you could really. There's kind of like an underlying, like, after you watch this movie, like, you aren't necessarily happy. There's like there's a weird appreciation of like life. How long am I gonna live? Like, what's going on? But like, there are things that stay with you that your brain can think about, but not necessarily scary. So, you know, I'm thinking a half a point here.
All right. 4.5 so far here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the final 1-point category for half a point each here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is rewatchability.
Definitely, dude. Definitely.
Yeah.
And don't let this score confuse you. As Mark tells you, this is a scary movie score. Because Green Mile, for real, is like that's a 10 out of 10 movie.
Green Mile.
It's a 10 out of 10 movie outside of horror. Like, if you're just saying, like, oh, is this a good movie? It's a remote dropper. Like, if this was on TV, you could drop your remote any point.
Oh, yeah. It's the sloppy horror rating. So, you know, that's what it is. So that is a total of 5.5. 5.5 out of 10 for the Green Mile here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Right back up in your ass. It's in there to stay.
It is, dude.
We've done our due diligence. It's there to stay.
What is this, the 5th movie of the season?
I don't fucking know.
Because I didn't count the bonus episode as part of the season. I thought that'd be too confusing.
I don't know what it is.
I thought that'd be too confusing.
What?
I don't know what I just said. I just thought it would be too confusing. So, next week's movie...
What's the hint? We don't have any hints. It's a hint.
I know. I gotta kind of think of it. I don't know.
You don't even know?
No.
What the fuck kind of prepared host are you? Thank you for that.
Or how about this?
How about what?
There is no God. I don't believe in that. I believe there is a God.
There was something. What is that?
It's a winter movie. It's winter. It's got the Josh Hartnetts in it. Little creepy vampires.
Damn it.
Little Fourth Kind location.
Damn it. feel like I know what it is. I feel like. Do you think this is a movie that I've seen before? Because that sounds familiar as shit.
It's like a whole, it's like a whole month of darkness.
Darkness, everybody, darkness. All right.
Yeah.
That should be good enough. We got darkness, we got Alaska, we got vampires, and we have There Is No God.
Yeah. And he looks so.
Once we get off the mics and you tell me the name of it, I'm going to be like, God damn it, that's what it is. But I can't think of it right now. Well, did you have a good New Year so far?
I did. I had a great New Year. No complaints. My Michigan Wolverines have advanced to the championship, and they will be playing tonight, providing this episode drops Monday. If they win, lots of tears. I will cry. A lot. If they lose, I'll probably just beat my kids, but I won't cry. Like, you know what I mean? I'll just like, you little fucker. You know,
So somebody is going to cry is what you're telling me.
Oh, yeah, but they'll get over it. You know, I don't care about them.
Yeah.
But, as far as me, if they win, you just know your boy's in a good place, and I'm probably streaking. I'm going to flip my own car. I'm going to get arrested.
Okay. All right.
So what about you? Did you have a good New Year? Everything swell? Everything nice? I literally didn't do anything for the ball drop.
I mean, hung out with some friends, had some drinks, low key. Bengals lost, but
Yeah, that sucked.
I knew that was going to happen anyway. But it was a shame because we got off to a hot start, but then it kind of down rolled.
Injuries suck, man.
Yeah, we weren't the superstar team that we should have been anyway because of injuries. But that was cool. Have a little Bengals time on New Year's. Went out for a little bit of drinks before it got crazy and went back and finished off. Then I got to fall. Then I slept on a couch, which once you hit over like 27, you sleep on a couch. It's fucking, you're gonna hurt the next day. That's just how it goes, especially drunk. So then I had to spend New Year's Day painting. I painted, helping my father out with some painting because I'm a good son.
Does your brother ever help out?
I don't know.
No. Put him on blast right here.
I don't know. I don't know if he's helped yet or not. I have no idea.
Does he ever help him like you help him? Who's the bigger helper?
I don't know. Whoever's around.
All right,
It's equal. It's just whoever he calls first when he has help. But now I live with them, so it's my job since I'm right there to help him, and I have no problem doing it. I'm not complaining about it, but it's just
I won't say his name, but I'll call your brother Muhammad.
There's no better way to get rid of a hangover though. I'm telling you, is by spending your whole day painting. Just rolling up and down. That'll get you rid of the hangover real quick.
Oh yeah, it's going away.
Yeah, so you sweat it out. That and fumes. So, did that.
It's a couple gas station hot dogs, a Mountain Dew, you're good to go.
Hell yeah, but other than that, my year hasn't been too bad so far. So we're looking good so far. We're doing good.
It's going to end good, Mark.
I hope so. That would be nice.
We're going to have sloppy horror movies. We're going to have new episodes, okay? I'm so, Mark, the thing for Mark is he's going to be really excited because he's going to have so much extra work in his lap making movies, and he's going to love it. All right, but he's going to have his name attached to things that a lot of people see. All right, and he's going to be a star in one of these movies. All right, which we'll get into that later. But it's called Grimace Fucks the Playhouse. He's Grimace. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding. But we are doing some movies, and we got big things coming. I'm so excited. And the thing with the good podcasts, the ones that make it, the ones that last, the time, those are the ones that continue to make episodes every fucking week. Those are the ones that continue to keep going. There's so many podcasts out there that are like, well, we got like 8 episodes, but we broke up and we did it over Zoom calls and this and that. You got to keep going. And that's one thing that I'm very proud of us for doing because the numbers continue to grow and grow. And throughout time, your little mouths will tell other people. You'll be like, you guys ever heard of sloppy horror? And somebody will be like, what?
Y'all ever heard of sloppy horror?
You guys ever heard of sloppy horrors? They're good. Yeah, they're really funny. Sometimes at work. No, yeah, these guys.
Don't say it like that though.
These guys are a riot.
If somebody sounded like that and they told me about it, I would not listen to this at all.
These two handsome guys talking about movies.
Just be like, hey, have you ever had a hardcore hour of podcast and entertainment shoved up your ass before? It's pretty relieving. You should try it. Sloppy Horror Podcast. Bang. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. We got our hints. We had a fantastic time spending time with you.
Yep, a whole
So-
30 days of it.
Exactly. So. Oh. Oh, okay. All right. All right, there it is. Now we know. Now you know, I know, everybody knows. Now we are going to go now. We love you. We'll see you next week.